Hello, and welcome to Wine with Weeda, the podcast that is dedicated to engaging with health professionals and caregivers in meaningful discussions. I'm your host, Rita Shamoon, or as my clients call me, Weeda. I'm a pediatric speech pathologist, and I am so excited to have you here. Each week, we deep dive into connecting you with caregivers and healthcare professionals, sharing their insights, stories, and key takeaways to help you with your child's diagnosis and your journey. Whether you are a parent, healthcare professional, a lifetime learner, or simply a wine enthusiast, you're in the right place. So let's sit back and relax and enjoy today's episode. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wine with Weeda. Today, I have a cracker of an episode for you. I have a gentleman who defeats all odds and says nothing is impossible despite the challenges you may face. I am graced by the amazing Kyle Willpower, who's a disability advocate, motivational speaker, and inspiring individual. Welcome, Kyle, to Wine with Weeda.
Thank you for having me.
How are you this evening?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Now, how I came across you, Kyle, I've been communicating with the boys on Shared Mindset, and I saw your wonderful podcast that you recently produced with them. Oh, not produced, but you were a guest on their podcast not long ago. And I was just so inspired by not only your story, but your aura, the way you spoke so passionately about disability and being true to your authentic self. And one note that I would never forget, when you started to show people who you really were and your true self, people just were drawn to you and you felt more alive. Whereas in the past, you felt you had to hide behind your disability. So, Kyle, please, the floor is yours. Please tell the listeners who you are and what makes you so amazing.
Um, all right. So, whew, that's a really broad question, but it's okay. Um, I've well, my name's Kyle. As you guys know, I was diagnosed at age 5 with CMT disease, which is called Charcot Marie Tooth disease. It's incredibly rare, degenerative nerve disease, attacks the peripheral nervous system from a very young age, and the doctors and everything knew very, very little about this illness at that age. And my family didn't know what they were going to deal with. I didn't know what I was going to deal with. Life was really different back then. And yeah, I never ever was held back in life from anything. And I think this is a really strong message I want to portray, is that don't ever think you are not capable of doing things just because you won't be good at it or whatever. Like don't let that stop you. Just do it. Just get stuck in. Doesn't matter. Like I played soccer, all right, when I was like 7 years old, and I can't lift my feet at all. So can you imagine the difficulty that is, right? But I just wanted to be included. I wanted to be a part of something, and I never wanted to feel different. So I always pushed through everything like that. And I think that is what really cultivated who I am today, because I am always trying the next thing, always failing forward in life. And that's because I think at a young age, I just never wanted to feel different. I just wanted to always give it a go. So here I am today, 36, with a extremely positive mindset, because there is no other mindset I would rather have. And trust me when I say that happens from an early age. I think you really need to just bring that in.
Yeah, of course. How powerful was that message? Thank you. I want to talk about your disability. So Charcot Marie Tooth disease. Could
Yep.
you explain to the listener what's that and the limitations that you have associated with that disease?
Yep. Um, so when I was first diagnosed, it was nowhere near as prominent. So when you first get diagnosed, you kind of have a little bit of trouble controlling your feet, and your hands are just a little bit funny. Let's just put it that way. And then over time, the nerves get attacked by the body, and they begin to degenerate, which then causes like muscle loss, weakness, and loss of control in the hands and feet. And the disease has many different variants. So some are way more aggressive than others, and it looks different in every single person. So for me, predominantly, my feet were the first to go. I lost them really quickly. So the ability to control them is just completely gone, and then causes atrophy from the bottom of the quad down. And then my hands are about 5% usable. So they're like very weak and like locked up. So over time, that just got worse and worse and worse. And I would say they're probably the worst they've ever been now. But that's just I can't make them
Yeah.
any better. So I do the best I can with them.
How old were you when you were diagnosed?
At age 5,
And so your parents obviously noticed you might have fallen over a few times or your muscular strength was reduced. Like what symptoms did they notice?
so it was when I was a really quick walker. I started walking at like
Mm.
8 months or something. So I was up real quick and there was no problems. But then as I started to turn like 3, sort of 4, they noticed I was tripping over a lot. And then like my parents were like, "Oh, we better go and get him checked, like see what's going on." Every doctor was like, "Nah, he's fine. He'll grow out of it. He's all good." And it just kept kind of getting a little bit worse. So then they're like, "No, we need to go to specialists." And after countless blood tests and neurologists, specialists, and all these things, then they came to that diagnosis. But back then, they actually didn't diagnose it as CMT. They diagnosed it as something completely blanket. But I only just found it
Mm.
recently it was CMT.
And I heard you said it impacts 3 million people worldwide.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you know the statistics in Australia at all?
I actually don't know.
Yeah. So it's
I've
in the
only
big
ever been
scheme of things,
across
it's not a big number. Yeah.
yeah, not many. It's really small. It's got 0.01%, I think, or something of the world.
Yeah. So then you played, I'm interested, how did you play soccer? How
And
did you cope with that?
you think goalkeeper, right? You think this would be the
Okay, yeah,
easiest
I'm thinking
thing.
like from
No,
your standing,
wrong.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I was a wing. I was on the side, and man, I would get that ball and I would kick it as hard as I could, and I'd do my best to be a part of it. And everyone would always cheer me on, and all that. And let's just go to like athletics carnivals. I wasn't allowed to sit out of those either. So on the running races, they would start me halfway. So when everybody ran, I could still get to the end and have a chance to win. And if I came first, second, or whatever, they would still give me a medal.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. Did you access any therapy such as physio or occupational therapy to support your development at all?
No, I didn't actually. I was always
How come?
kind of like bratty, independent kid.
Okay.
And just like, I'd be on push bikes, dirt bikes, all that sort of stuff. I just never, I can't, I was like, I don't need it. I'm all good. And I was in a like 2 horse country town sort of thing where I grew up as well. Like
Okay.
there was no medical
Mm,
facilities within 50 kilometers sort of thing. Like there was hospitals and stuff, but nothing like back then too. Let's just put things in perspective. I was like the
yeah.
only disabled kid in my school. So the services
Mm.
around were quite limited.
And so then you accessing the services are just like, well, just have to deal with what you've got and
Yeah,
just carry on. And it's interesting you say that because now disability it's more noticeable
yeah.
and the access to services are more achievable for families, and it makes me actually wonder sometimes when you don't have the support it actually inspires someone to just believe in themselves so much more to then do. Is that what inspired you as a young child
Like
just to carry on?
I think for me as a child, like I wasn't even afraid of anything. I was just like,
Mm.
whatever, this is what it is. Just do your best. So,
Yeah.
if it puts me in a wheelchair, it does, but I never had the mindset that I would end up in one. I was just like,
Mm.
just living life. I basically ignored it.
Mm. Mm, mm. Did it impact your cognition at all or academic performance or only just your physical movements?
I think it did in certain ways. Not I don't even know if it was like connected to it or not, maybe like from exhaustion and stuff. Because like before I
Mm.
wore leg braces, man, that was an effort. I didn't wear them till I was like 15, 16 years old. So
Wow.
my feet
Mm.
were just doing this like all like just flopping around all the time. Like that was my daily life, walking through school and stuff. Like that was like hell on earth now that I look back at it.
I can imagine because that element of fatigue would mean that you'd possibly put academic tasks aside because you don't have the cognitive capacity to complete the task. Did you get any support to help you in that area, or again, just you persevered and pushed through?
So the school was really cool and got me a laptop. That was
Hmm.
a massive thing because it was harder to write for me. So they were like, this may help him learning. We'll get him a laptop. That way he'll be able to type his, everything up. And
Yeah.
that was so helpful. That 100%. But that also worked in a negative way because man, did I get bullied for
Yes.
that.
Let's talk about that. How old were you when people started to notice, Kyle can't be like us, or he's limited? And so naturally, children are mean,
Yeah.
and they would say really nasty comments. How did you cope with it? And especially, how did your parents cope with it too?
So in primary school, it was actually like nowhere near as bad as high school. Primary school was actually pretty cool. People would just be like, like, what's wrong with you? And then I'd be like, oh, nothing really, just this or whatever. And they're like, oh, yeah, cool. And they just get over it and everybody moves on. In high
Mm,
school, it's just like, whoa. Yeah, I just
mm,
got profusely bullied. Every name in the book, like, I'm not even going to rattle them off, but I had them all.
mm.
And in terms of how my parents deal with it, whenever I come home crying from school, which was most days, my mom would just be furious, like on the phone to the school, like on which kids are they? I'm gonna go and sort them out. Like it was all that sort of thing, but there was, just nothing you could really do.
Yeah. And did that bullying or those subtle eye contacts continue into your adulthood as well? Or did you then just say, well, this is who I am, you take it or leave it, pretty much?
Well, once I was in like adulthood and out of school, that was when I just wore pants forever, sort of thing. So people would just be like, "Oh,
Why?
you've got a limp. What's wrong?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I fell off a quad bike. That's it.
Sure, I
End of
understand.
story."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said on your page frequently, you said, "I hid behind my disability." Is that the pants concept, or did you hide other elements of your like a mask as well, just so people wouldn't notice it too?
Well, yeah, I would just shut down anyone that would ask anything about it. They're like, "Oh, why are you limping?" And I'd just be like, "Yeah, I fell off a bike, or I fell off a horse, or I did this
Mm,
or that." And that would be the end of it because once you say that it's an accident, you're just a cool guy that had an accident. That's you know what I mean, and
mm.
that's the mental dynamic. Because if someone thinks that's what I used to think anyway, they'd be like, "Oh, he's just a cool guy who had an accident," not which I used to think disability would make me feel like heaps less, and it's the complete opposite now. But that's what it felt like.
Yeah, yeah. There's this phrase I like to use is that you are not defined by your disability, but more your ability. How have, at what point in your adulthood did that switch turn on? So, you know what, I have to accept this and make power out of my disability in order for me to continue to thrive in many aspects in my life.
That was what when I was like 33. That was
Mhm,
that was when so I was like I think 2 years into my fitness journey,
mhm.
and I was getting to the point where I'm like, man, it's hot in the gym. Like I can't be in pants all the time. Like this is getting rough, And I'm like, and then I was telling people because I lost like 40 kilos, and everyone was like, dude, that's really inspiring. You should share that on social
Yeah.
media. And I'm like, is it? Like, okay, like I just do things. So it's like, all right, maybe I was like, maybe I can help other people. Maybe I'll start doing that. So when I started
Yeah.
posting social media, I actually got a lot of backlash because people were like, this guy's like, weird looking, you know what I mean? Like they're like, he's not strong. And there was all these like sort of things. And I'm like, okay, gonna have to be real now. This is where it is.
Yeah.
And that's where it all changed.
And you said, do you feel your fitness journey also supported your strength as well and made you stronger and it defeated a lot of challenges that you possibly would have had?
Definitely. It definitely
Mm,
impacted so many things in terms of discipline for me as well. Like I always was like proprietor of just saying I'm going to do something and not doing it. And then when
mm.
I started the gym, man, that changed everything. I'm like, I am non-negotiable gym today. Like, go, get up, go. And I just did that for so long. And then a lot of my life changed around me because of it.
Yeah, yeah. So what's your gym routine look like now?
Now it's way more chill than it was. I used to go every day for 2 hours a day for
Really? That long?
for so long. Yeah, like, and I could do it easy. Like I was like, now that I'm getting
What would
older,
you do for 2? I can't even do half
man,
an hour here at
I would,
home.
I would go in and I would hit a particular muscle group for that period of time, and then I would do like 15 or 25 minutes worth of boxing, and then I would do like sled pushes and
Wow.
so
In
much.
your chair, or did you have like a brace to support your standing?
Oh, I just have my leg braces that I wear. That's all I
Okay.
have. Yeah.
Wow. And did you have a personal trainer, or this is all just your own learning and feeling where you can push yourself to?
I just hurt myself
Wow.
times to learn.
You just hurt yourself a number of times to
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. How did you hurt yourself?
Well, I would just be like, okay, I wouldn't know like a program or anything. I didn't know how to progress in weight. It would just be like, all right, today I'm feeling stronger. Pull a heavier weight or push a heavier weight or whatever. So I
Yeah.
remember the first time I injured myself and I was doing like a row, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna put it heavier, and I pulled and I just didn't have good form, and like I felt my shoulders like, "Argh," and I was like, oh no. And I went to the
Yeah.
doctor, and she's just like, oh, you've just sprained something or something. You'll be okay. I'm like, okay, all
And
good.
how long did that last for?
That lasted like 11 days. I remember it like hell on earth because I didn't want to go
Oh,
back. I wanted to go back, and I'm like, she's like, don't go to the gym, let your body heal. I'm like, oh.
yeah. Kyle, you're so inspiring by how you are discussing your journey, and especially now into your adulthood, how you're using your challenges to motivate other people. Without a doubt, that inspiration came from your parents and their belief within you that nothing is unstoppable. Describe what they were like in your childhood and how they supported you along the way.
My father, the words that are ingrained into me from him are there is no such word as can't. And
Can't. Yeah.
yeah, can't. You can't not do anything. And I was like, what do you
Mm,
mean? I'm like, Dad, I don't want to do that. He's like, I don't want to hear it. Do it. And then I would do it. And then he was like, see? I'm like, oh, okay. So I was
yeah.
always doing that. And mum was like, just have a go. Just do it. Who cares what anyone thinks? Just do it. Whatever. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's the sort of like, yeah, I guess angle they both had was just always just push yourself. So I did.
Who cares what people think? And
Yeah.
you can't isn't a
Yeah.
word in your
Yeah.
vocabulary.
Can't
Yeah.
doesn't work. Yeah. You just got to do it.
And then you just continue with that mindset to achieve all odds in your journey. If any parent listening to this, what advice would you give them as a child? Because
Hmm.
sometimes hearing all that feedback, it does get quite annoying
Yeah.
from your parents. They do
Yeah.
get a bit intense.
Yeah.
What advice would you give parents to support their children just with their disability, especially as they're transitioning into different stages in their life?
They are way more capable than you may think they are. And don't let the fear of them getting hurt stop them from doing things. That is
Mhm.
the biggest thing, because kids are meant to learn that way, and being
Yeah.
disabled makes no difference. All right, it's going to change them who they are ongoing. Like, so just let them have a go, let them cry, let them go through it just the same as everybody else.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that don't let the fear of them getting hurt stop them.
Mhm.
Because when you were describing yourself playing soccer, I
Yeah.
have 3 daughters, and all I could think of, if my daughter has or had Charcot Marie Tooth
Yeah.
disease, I would be mortified at the thought of her falling over, because the unknowing pain that she will experience, or
Yeah.
the challenges that she will have post an injury. I wanna helicopter as much as I can, but
Mhm.
you've just proved that wrong, that will actually support their growth in so many ways.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. If any young adult is listening to this podcast now who has a disability, what would you tell them?
Ooh, I just think you just don't let your disability define who you are or what you
Mm,
are, because you aren't anything to do with that. It's just part of something you have to go around or work out. Don't, because this is the big thing I see, and I see it really often. It's like if somebody gets diagnosed with something, they then start becoming that illness or that problem, and it festers and cultivates in you, and then all of a sudden you have this new network of excuses because you're like, oh man, but I can't do this because I have this, and I can't do this because I have this, and this would be a bad
yeah,
idea because of this. So
yeah,
just push yourself out of that comfort zone and forget about it and just do the thing.
yeah. It's so true, because it all comes back down to the mind. So
Mhm.
if you believe you cannot,
Yep.
And therefore you're telling your mind that you cannot, and you cannot push yourself to do it. Do you have any like phrases that you wake up and live by that can push you through a hard day?
I don't, but I just express gratitude. That's the
Yeah.
easiest way for me is like, and this is for anyone around me as well when they're having a bad day. I'll just be like, look, I'm not trying to tell you not like how to feel or anything like that, but we live here. This is awesome. Woke up today. Like, I'm the worst to be around, honestly. Like, you're feeling
Yeah.
sad.
I love it. You're so contagious.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, but like, there's a lot of pluses here. There's just one
Yeah.
negative. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever experience, or did your family ever experience that concept of toxic positivity? That's that element of, okay, you're very enthusiastic about this, but sometimes parents just need that it's okay to feel disheartened, or it's
Mm.
okay to feel shit because of your limitations. And it's about acknowledging that emotion too, because that emotion is equally just as important as a happy emotion.
Yeah, it actually took me a long time to learn that it's
Mm,
okay to feel emotions because I used to like beat myself up over being sad over things like that. I'm like, oh man, this sucks, like. But I think
mm.
coming to realization of it, like just going, look, I've got this. Whatever happens, gonna happen. Whatever. All right, just take day by day.
How did you deal with, or how did you learn to appreciate and also respect that you're entitled to feel sad? You're allowed to feel grief. How did you come to that, like that 360 moment?
I actually don't remember how I came to it, but it's all been in like I guess my own personal growth and spiritual growth over
Mm,
time. Just like I do know when it's when I learned that happiness is a feeling and it's not a destination.
yeah.
Because for me, I'm like, am I happy today? Yes. Cool. Can that change in literally a millisecond? Yes. But
Yes.
that's why like you could get a phone call and it's some bad news and you're like, oh man, now I'm sad, but then you feel that and you're like, okay, where can we go from here? And then you can maybe go neutral for a bit, maybe you can eat some Maltesers and then you might feel a little bit better, whatever, but you're always trying to head back to that happiness feeling, right? That's the
Yeah.
way I feel anyway.
Maltesers always come for the win. Love them. They're the
They
best.
do. Much.
Well, you go to the gym like what, 2 hours a day now, so you're okay to do.
Yeah.
So, so let's explain to the, or let's tell the listeners what you do now as an adult to support yourself, as well as to keep you by every day, take you by, like, yeah, keep you by every day.
Yeah. So I make content. That's one thing. I work
For
with.
yourself, or are you a social media content person?
I don't make them for anybody else at the moment. I have in the past. Um, I'm heavily into business innovation, so I normally work with
Hmm,
businesses here and there on making them better. I run 11 Airbnbs at the moment as well. Um, and
that's huge. How do
yeah,
you manage that?
uh, with 8 to 8 on a phone.
Yeah,
So a long time.
I was gonna say, so do you type, or do you just, it's all verbal communication?
So I've got a work phone as well as my regular
Mm,
phone, and I attend the properties here and there when I have to as well, and
mm.
have cleaning crews and all that sort of stuff. But it's um, it's a full time job, but not a full time job. Gives you a lot of flexibility, but at the same time, some days it is full on. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty cool, and we're just opening up a side business to that now as well, which is the next thing. We get the lease in 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
An Airbnb luggage storage business. So you fly in somewhere, well, here, a little bit early to check in. So for like 5 hours, you want to go and do stuff for the day, you got nowhere to put your luggage, come and store it here, bang, chuck it in for the day, come back when you're done, and then go check into your Airbnb.
Wow, that's amazing. Like,
Mm,
it's so amazing how you have created a career from different elements like Airbnb, content creating, business innovative. Like, it just proves that you are not limited at all by your disability. And
no.
it's about being creative, tapping into your interests, as well as following the lead as to what sparks your joy. When did you realize that is your creative point, like helping others, networking as well?
At about age 13,
Well,
I
tell
think.
us about that.
So I always had a drive to just fill needs, I guess, and to figure that
Yeah.
out. And so for me, because I sort of lived in like a small town, the
Yeah.
first thing I could do is like I ended up getting a quad bike off my pop. He bought me a quad bike because he was like,
Yeah.
"You need this. This will be super cool for you, whatever." And I'm like, he's like, "But I'm not giving you any petrol money." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, okay, spanner in the works. What do we
Drive.
do here?" So like, figure it out. I'm like, "All right, I'll figure it out." So I'm like, Mom, what can I do to make money? She's like, pick up the horse shit out of the paddock. And I was like, why? She's like, just
No one wants to do that.
sell it out the front of the house. And I'm like, no one's gonna buy
People
it.
buy it.
They will. And I was like, so I just got Hessian sacks and I dug it up with a shovel, put it out the back, out the front for $3.50 a bag. 3 bags sold instantly.
Can I just ask, what do they use it for?
Fertilizer, put it in the garden.
Oh.
Works incredibly, apparently.
And it's cheaper than going to, say, like a Flower Power or a big
There
store that
wasn't.
sells fertilizer.
There was none.
There wasn't any.
No,
Wow.
our town is like literally a servo and a post office.
So $3.50 a bag.
Yep.
Is it like 2 kilos? How heavy were they?
Uh, well, they're probably like 2 kilos each. Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, and I'm selling
Wow.
3 to 5 of them a week usually. So quad bike
So you
cost
made a good
$3 to fill up.
$20 a week.
Yeah,
And
that
back
was
then that was a lot of money.
that was heaps back then. Yeah, that quad bike filled up for $9.
Wow. And how long, I hate to say it this way,
Yeah,
how long were you picking up horse shit for?
quite a while. I think maybe about another year until I figured out I had a better business, and um, I was really good with computers. Obviously, because I needed to pivot in my brain.
Yeah.
My mum and always was like, "Get good with computers because your mind is sharp and you'll be good with
Yeah.
computers always." And I was like, "All right,
Yeah.
cool." So I got into computers, and then someone rang up mum and was like, "Oh, your son's good with computers. Can you come over and help fix ours?" I'm like, "Sure." I went over there, rode my push bike over, and fixed it. And they were like, "Here's $50." And I'm like, "Oh,
$50.
okay."
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
"We're on. All right, let's work this out." So I went home and printed up like a flyer and put it at the local shops with a little rip-off number thing at the bottom. The
Yeah,
next
yeah,
day,
yeah.
there were like four gone. And they were ringing me and they were
Wow.
coming over $20 here, $50 here. Someone wanted a computer build. I charged $120 for that. And it was just like, whoa, cool.
And I guess that's the wonders of living in a small community. When the services are limited, you discovered the spark in your interest between, the poo situation, but also the computer stuff. You were in demand of an industry that wasn't available. That's awesome stuff.
Yeah, it was really awesome. And they were always like elderly and so appreciative and stuff of just
Yeah.
fixing all their problems.
I guess they're kind words towards you, and they're being so appreciative of what you have done. Did that kind of lift your spirits when you were bullied in your adolescence?
It felt really good to be valued. Like
Yeah.
that was an addictive feeling I felt.
Yeah.
Because especially when you're growing up thinking like, well, look, I can't go and be a bricklayer, can I? So where's my value?
Yeah.
So you
Mm.
had to try and figure that out.
Yeah. That's so special that you say that. And I think that's what every individual wants to feel: value, seen, heard, and respected. And once you have that sense of your emotions being met, you build that community around you and your people, your friendship circles too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we were going to finish up soon, but I just wanted to know, with any other emotional challenges that you would have faced, how did you conquer that as well? Did you access any mental health support, or just persevered with your own willpower?
I just
Ironically.
Yeah, ironically, just persevered.
Yeah.
Through all my down days, I realized that no one was ever coming to save me. And while I'm not against reaching out for help from people, but I learned to back myself in my darkest moments because if I can pull myself out of that, I can get out of anything. So
Yeah.
that was when I learned to feel my emotions as well. Because I'm like, okay, I'm sad. I can be sad for a while, and I'm just gonna be sad for a while, and that's okay. And then I'll just work on getting out of this. And
Yeah, yeah.
you can.
Can I just say, Kyle, we've only been on this chat for like half an hour, but it has been so uplifting and motivational for me, but also for my patients that I see daily as I support parents through the unknown. But it just shows them that anything is possible. Just have that faith and belief that your child can do anything, and can't isn't a word in their vocabulary.
No can'ts.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love it. So I noticed on your biography that you're also a motivational speaker. Can anyone reach out to for a gig that you can do?
Absolutely. So that was on my new goal list for this year, that I wanted to start
Yeah,
doing some motivational speaking, preferably to kids with disabilities, actually. So I'm glad that you called me on for this, because, like I
yeah,
was saying, I think it's really cultivated in that childhood years, man. Like, that creates you. So, the trauma also creates you, but, the good stuff too.
yeah. It's funny that you say, because the buzzword in our social media is trauma this, trauma that, attachment
Yeah.
this, attachment that.
Yeah.
But it's so nice how you've said, well, yeah, trauma is one thing. We all have trauma, but
Mm,
also your childhood memories also cultivate the person that you become.
mm,
If there was a 6-year-old here in front of you right now who has gross motor challenges or physical disabilities,
mhm.
what would you say to them?
What do you like to do? And chase that. Go
Yeah,
for it. Don't listen to anyone else. Just go for that thing. All right. Because that
yeah,
will eventually make you happy. Like, you'll be able to do that lots, and that's fun. That's what we
yeah.
want.
Yeah, of course, of course. And people can just access through your website or social media handle?
Yep.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Now, before we finish up today, Kyle, I always ask all my guests one word. And I'm sure I kind of know what your word will be. If you were to be a better version of yourself tomorrow, what word will you apply to yourself today?
Willpower.
Willpower?
Yeah.
We don't have to explain, but please do explain.
I mean, you have an unlimited well of willpower in yourself. You just need to tap into it. Like,
Yeah,
everybody has it. It's just, it all starts here. That's
yeah.
all. It's, yeah. I don't know. You can't teach it, but you all have it.
And I guess one thing that I've learned just from only a half an hour conversation with you, Kyle, I'm feeling your energy. And it's so important to surround yourself with that energy of inspiration. You can do anything, because that is quite contagious. And that then inspires me to go do that workout before bed tonight.
Yeah, let's go. That's what we want. Absolutely.
Because anything is possible. Anything's possible. So thank you, Kyle, for coming on Wine with Rita. Your conversation has been on point and so inspiring. For everybody else, please go visit Kyle's Instagram, which I'll put in the show notes, or in his website as well. Thank you, Kyle, for joining Wine with Rita today. And for everybody else, another episode of Wine with Rita will be released really soon. Take care, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Wine with Weeda. I hope you found some new inspiration, learnt something new, or gained a fresh perspective. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you please leave a 5-star review, as it really helps the show get in the ears of new listeners, plus it takes 5 seconds. If you're keen for more strategies and insights, then head over to Instagram and follow RS Speech Pathology.